Yo, yo, YouTube, what's good? Hold on one second. Let me try to find the fuck. What? Oh, okay, found it. All right. I found the plot we're gonna talk about. Yeah, we are back with Breaking Bad, the eighth episode of season three. We only have five more episodes left of the season, which is kind of crazy. Man, Stranger Things comes out tomorrow. That's insane. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have a Stranger Things reviews for Saturday and Sunday, so we're gonna go back to kind of having three shows going. But I need to finish off either Breaking Bad or The Boys. I don't know if we're gonna be able to watch that tonight, so you guys might be bland on the YouTube tomorrow, depending on if a really good record drops. If some huge artist drops an album tonight, I'll probably listen to it. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think we're just gonna listen to Sad Frosty on Twitch tonight. So if you guys want to pop out, go ahead. Uh, Plot. Let's talk about the plot for this episode. Pretty interesting. As Jesse Pinkman is leaving the hospital after Hank Schrader's attack on him, he sees Hank being admitted in critical condition with 4 gunshot wounds. So he's like, oh shit, what the fuck happened to Hank? Did my friend pull up and shoot his ass? I'm sure that was like the initial. Here we go. Hold up one second. My camera's not like full size. There we go. It's not. It wasn't fully on the screen. My fault. But yeah. Jesse smiles to himself as Skinny Pete picks him up satisfied at the karmic justice. He's like, yeah, Hank fucking deserved this. He probably didn't, I guess he didn't think his friends did it. He was kind of sitting back like, hell yeah, Hank, you got what was fucking come to you. Don't put your hands on someone for no fucking reason. Walter White tells Let's get to the Walter White situation. Walter White tells a confused and upset Gail Boutisher that they are not working well together and he is being replaced. So Gail just now finds out the news of fucking Jesse Pinkman replacing his ass. I really liked this Gail character. He was very, very temporary in this series, and I guess it was his time to go. By the way, I don't think you see it in the background, but right about there's a Walter White action figure. My camera is not really that good. I think it's because I'm like really far from my fucking setup. But yeah, I have a Walter White back there against the wall. It's fire as fuck. Heisenberg. You guys know. Jesse then shows up at that moment, much to Walt's dismay, and displays his uncouth and unprofessional personality as he admires the lab, which confuses Gil any further, realizing that this is his replacement. He's like, for real, Walt? This is the guy you got coming for me? And this is the result. Jesse Pinkman in the fucking lab. We're gonna talk about him like fucking around in the lab here in a little bit. But Gail is probably really fucking confused. And by the way, my dad started watching Better Call Saul. I'm gonna wait till after Breaking Bad to start watching that, but it's really interesting because people that have like the show and all that shit have told me like it's no different. It's like we're still as good and shit. It's really hard to live up to Breaking Bad right now because we're on a great trajectory. We're on a great story. But yeah, crazy stuff. Nevertheless, Walt and Gail shake hands and part ways on relatively amicable terms, while Victor reminds him to not fall behind on their weekly quota. Like, yeah, you got this fucking goofball that is Jesse Pinkman in the lab, but you gotta remember, you gotta stay on the status quo. Jesse informs Walt about Hank's condition, and Walt immediately leaves for the hospital. So Walt, having no idea that his former brother-in-law, Hank, has been shot, he rushes over to the hospital. Thanks to Jesse for telling him the news. That's good to know. It's a very important family emergency. Walt catches up with his family while Steve Gomez and George Merker explain to him that 2 cartel hitmen, Lionel and Marco Salamanca, made an attempt on Hank's life. So pretty much these guys ambushed him. Gomez kind of fills Walt in and what's kind of going on in this situation here. Gomez expresses astonishment that Hank was able to take down both of the assassins without his gun, and this prompts Marie Schrader to question why Hank did not have his gun on him, because he got suspended by the DEA because of his assault on Jesse. Come on, Marie, are you new to this situation? I don't know. She is really weird. I'm not a very big fan of Marie. Like, I'm starting to hate her, dude. Like, she makes some dumbass comments. She's really fucking annoying. She complains. She's, like, very dependent on people. I don't know. She just gives me those vibes. I don't really like it. But yeah, Merkert explains that Hank had to turn it in following suspension due to the assault on Jesse. Obviously, you can't have your weapon that was issued to you by the DEA. You can't just keep it. It's not a souvenir. Marie lashes out at the both of them, blaming them for leaving Hank defenseless and not backing him up when he needed them most. Well, obviously, these two did not know that these Mexican cartel members weren't coming after him. Thank you very much, Marie. You know what I mean? She also pins blame on Walt, believing that Hank would never have crossed paths with Jesse if Walt had never bought marijuana from him. Obviously, that never happened. That was kind of the ploy to get Walt to be friends with Jesse and his wife and then be fine with it. So yeah, she's trying to find this scapegoat here. I mean, I get it. It's out of frustration. Her husband's just gotten shot. It's very childish, though. Lionel, his legs now amputated from being crushed against the vehicle, remember, is being treated within the same hospital as Hank. Yeah, people want him dead. A lot of people do. When Gomez and Walt go to view him from the other side of his door, Lionel recognizes Walt and angrily crawls towards him before eventually being hoisted back to his bed by police. So police were there, I guess, because those two were in the same hospital, or because they were there for Hank. He used to be in the DEA, all this type of stuff. But yeah, so this Salamanca twin gets really mad and goes after them. Walt is startled by this and realizes that he might have been their intended target. Walt realizes, oh, I'm Heisenberg. I'm big in the drug trade. These Mexicans might have wanted to come after me because they saw my relationship with Tuco Salamanca, and they might have wanted to come after me. So yeah. Gus Fring receives a call from Juan Bolsa, obviously associated with the Salamancas. The attempted hit on a DEA agent has prompted the Mexican government to crack down on the cartel and for the border to be monitored with more scrutiny, forcing him to lie low in Mexico. So the Salamanca associate is kind of hiding out and making sure that he's not going to get caught in association with the ambush. Bolsa suspicious that Gus was the one who orchestrated the hit. Still, as Marco and Lionel would not have acted on their own. They only act with association of other people. They only act with direction by other people. They are kind of slaves out here in the drug world. But he tells Gus that he intends to get the truth from Lionel as to who permitted them to act. That's not going to happen, as you're going to figure out here. Walt spends the next few days at the hospital while Jesse remains at the lab, waiting for him to return so that they can resume cooking to meet their quota. They got to do this, or else they're probably going to get fired by Gus. Walt eventually receives a call from Gus to check in on their progress, and he's probably going to lie to him, right? Not wanting to give any information that might reveal that his brother-in-law is a DEA agent Gus Fring already knows. Walt lies about why they are falling behind, saying that Gale has set them back significantly. Of course, blaming people. This episode's a big old blame game. And to make up for it, he promises to produce 400 pounds of meth next week. Gus agrees to this. Gus is like, okay, you can make up with it. You can double your production next week. I guess that's fine. I mean, I have faith in you, Walt. You're a good person. Walt is horrified when Gus suddenly shows up at the hospital bringing free food from Los Pollos Hermanos as a show of his support for the DEA. Obviously, he's like a booster. He's a big supporter of the DEA. We saw that in actually like when he first kind of started appearing in the show. Gus meets the rest of Walt's family. Okay. What else happens? Gus meets the rest of Walt's family and relates to the time when he first met Hank, revealing to Walt that Gus already knew that his brother-in-law was in the DEA. Kind of knew that. Walt speaks privately with Gus, assuring him that Hank is not a problem for their business, although he kind of is because he's posing a threat. He was trying to go after Jesse. As Gus leaves, Lionel suddenly goes into cardiac arrest and dies. So now both of the Salamanca twins are dead, which is crazy. Mike Ermantrot is then shown disposing of a syringe and leaving unnoticed. So I think Mike might have put something... Dude, Salah's got some shit up his sleeve. Oh my god, what a fucking badass. Sending Mike over there. Later that night, Gus receives another call from Bolsa, whose house is now surrounded by Mexican federales due to Gus tipping them off to his location.